The Multicultural Artists Coalition is a non-for-profit organization shaped by immigrant, refugee, indigenous, and IBPOC artists. Most of us, we are art administrators and artists that live in the city of Ottawa, in Gatineau, and in the National Capital Region. We have the goal of building capacity for local artists in the community and help them increase their visibility, their scale, their reach to the wider community. Core value of MACCAM is the idea of decolonizing the concept of art. Traditional cultural spaces are colonial spaces that were built by European heritage, and most of the time didn't include different ways of thinking and different ways of being, and actually excluded those kind of thinking and created a colonial framework that rejected anything that was not included within that framework. So we know you get into concepts like folklore art instead of like real art, or folklore music instead of real music, or myth instead of history. So all those connotations are colonial connotations that we want to deconstruct by the programs that we offer and create a new narrative that basically brings a new balance between different ways of thinking. We're not saying that the European way of thinking is less or more than other ways of thinking, but we want to put everybody at the same height and give them the same amplitude of their voices and visibility in the programs. Our mandate prioritizes Indigenous, Black, POC, immigrant, and refugee artists, but we usually embrace the whole community to participate in our programs. We want the community to know and have exchanges and cultural exchanges and ideas exchanges with people that most of the time they wouldn't meet in cultural spaces. So at the same time, it's kind of like creating a new dynamic within cultural spaces in the city where there is more diversity, but not only diversity within disciplines, but also diversity in culture, language, and social, cultural, political criteria. Also, another value that is very important for MACCAM is self-determination and self-management. And this is because most of the times when we talk about community development, it comes from outsiders of the community that want to bring help to the community, but then that creates dependency. Because as soon as those projects or organizations leave the community, then the community is not having those services that got dependent from. And then instead of improving their benefit or their wellness, it actually decreases because now they have a need that it won't be covered. So by having projects that use self-determination and self-management as core values, we ensure that in the future, those communities will develop the capacity, skills, tools, and resources so they can continue the process without having an external entity helping them to achieve their goals. The Art+ series showcases and celebrates equity, diversity, inclusion in the arts and includes artists from Western and non-Western disciplines that live in the city of Ottawa. With the Art+ series, the idea is to amplify the voices of those artists that may not be included in the mainstream and in the established cultural sector, and at the same time creating paid opportunities for those artists to continue their professional practices as artists in the city. MACCAM is very different because those communities are MACCAM. The reason why we are named a coalition is because we acknowledge our differences. We are very different. In the coalition, we have Black artists that were born here, we have Black artists that are immigrants, we have Indigenous artists that are not from North America, but still they are Indigenous. We have immigrants that are white and are European. There is a lot of intersections that create different barriers for each one of us. And I think what we try to do together is to have conversations and understand how we can work together to empower our communities and help each other with solidarity.